Namaste girls. Now I am going to teach lesson changes around us lesson. So what are the learning objectives this lesson? To state the effect of heat and solid, liquid and gas and the associated changes in the arrangement of particles upon heating. Then, to differentiate physical change and chemical change on the basis of particle theory, to identify the process of physical changes or chemical changes based on its characteristics, to distinction periodic and non-periodic changes, to experience the endothermic and ex- exothermic changes and through the simple activities. The changes take the place around us all time. A changes refer to an alternation in physical properties or alternation in the composition of matter. For example, ice melts and heating, that is, it changes from solid to liquid. On the further heating, the water starts evaporating. It changes from a liquid to gas. So, what is changes? What is change? The change takes place around us all the time. A change refers to an alternation in physical properties or alternation in the composition of matter. So what happened? There are the two type of changes. One is physical changes, other one is next chemical changes. So we will go on the physical change. So what is physical change? So physical change is only the physical properties of the substances change and no new substances is formed. This is a physical change. The physical change example, what are they? Melting of ice, bending of pencil and chopping of wood. Next, what is chemical change? The chemical properties of the substance change and a new substance is formed. That is a chemical change. Example, cooking of rice, refining of fruits, burning of wood. This is all example of chemical change. Next, we are going to discuss about distinction between solid, liquid and gas. So solid particles are very close together. Liquid particles are close together. In gas, particles are far apart from each other. Next, In solid particles are arranged in a fixed regular pattern. The particles are not arranged in a fixed regular pattern. In gas, particles are not arranged in a fixed regular pattern. In solid, particles can vibrate about their fixed position. In liquid, particles are able to solid the stone of another. In gas, particle move freely over a long distance. So in solid, particles can vibrate about their fixed position. In liquid, particles are able to solid position another. In gas, particles move freely over a long distance. Next, what are the characters of physical change? What are the characters of physical change? Any changes in this physical properties is referred to as physical change. Then, when a rubber band is stressed, it enlarges. However, when the stretching is stopped, the rubber band comes back to its original state and shape. This is character of physical change. Next, during the physical change, no new substances are formed. In physical change in the chemical properties of a substance do not change. When ice cubes melt, matter is formed. In this change, there is no new substance, but water is the in both ice and water. This is characteristics of the physical change. What is physical change? Now can be defined. The physical change is usually temporary and reversible in nature. When water is the heated, the water vapor is formed. Once water vapor is cooled, water can be obtained again. Next, in a physical change, the chemical properties of a substance do not change when a piece of gold is melted. Its chemical position remain the same in the solid form and also in the liquid form. Next can you tell why? So what is this? In a physical change, the physical properties such as color, shape and size of a substance may undergo a changes. Cutting of vegetable and inflating of balloon. This is all physical changes. So now let us see what is melting. The melting is a change of a solid into liquid. When heat is applied, This process occurs at the fixed temperature. When a cup of ice cream and a beaker of ice cube is kept at room temperature, it melts. Why? The ice cream and the ice cube receives heat from the surrounding air, so it melt and change into the liquid form. So now can be defined the evaporation. So evaporation. So all water molecules moving here and there are different velocities. Show us the arrows of different length. Some of the molecules, especially on the surface, could be moving in a direction away from the liquid and have adequate the energy to overcome the alternative force. See here the surface tension of the liquid and that molecule will be escape into the air. So now we will see what is freezing it. What is freezing it? The water in the freezer compartment of a refrigerator gets cooled and solidifies to form ice. In this case, the liquid water change into solid water called ice. Only a change in state takes a place during the freezing of water to form ice, but no new substances is formed. So the freezing of water is a physical change. Now we are going to discuss about condensation. Condensation. We would have observed that the plate that covers the cooked food items have water droplets on the inside of the plate. Why? The water vapor immerses from the hot food and goes up. The plate covering the food is relatively less hot than the hot food. Next, condensation finished. Next. Now let us know what is sublimation is. We have seen the compare being the burn at home, kept in rooms to prevent an entry of mosquitoes. There are certain solid substances like compare phenolphthalein that get converted into gas directly upon heating without becoming liquid. This process in which a solid is converted directly into gas is called sublimation. So this is the picture of the sublimation. Then crystallization. So what is crystallization? The crystallization is also a special form of physical change. The soluble impurities gets removed from certain solids by crystallization. The, the process of cooling a hot concentrated the solution of a substance to obtained crystals is called crystallization. Next, now we are going to learn chemical changes. So the materials such as plastics, soaps, detergents, perfumes, acids, bases, salts, etc. are all made by carrying out various type of chemical changes. This is all example of this picture. All of you see soap, soap acid of this picture. Now we are going to learn rusting of iron. Let us see why are the process of rusting is a chemical change. So what type of changes of burning paper? The burning is a chemical change because in burning the paper we can find a new substances. So what are the example? Ash, the find out the new substances: ash, carbon dioxide, water vapor and smoke. The rusting is change that affect the iron particles and slowly destroyed them. The iron is used in making bridges, ships, cars, car truck bodies, and many other things. In fact, if the content of moisture in air is high, the air is said to be a more humid and eventually rusting is faster. The rusting of iron, this picture. Let us see burning. The burning of paper is fast changes. The burning a piece of paper gives entirely new substances such as carbon dioxide, water vapor, smoke and ash. The heat and light also given out during burning of a paper. Next, let us see curdling of milk. We know that curdling of milk is an example of reversible change since we cannot get back the milk after curdling occurs. It is also called as chemical change. How can we how can we define fermentation? Fermentation. The fermentation is the process in which microorganisms such as yeast and certain bacteria they break down the sugar solution into alcohol and carbon dioxide. It is an irreversible process as the alcohol formed cannot be turned back into sugar. The fermentation is a chemical change. So next we are going to about chemical reaction of baking soda. Baking soda is a sodium hydrogen carbonate and lemon juice contain the citric acid. When these two substances are mixed together, then a chemical changes take place between sodium hydrogen carb- carbonate and citric acid to form the three substances. Example, the sodium hydrate, carbon dioxide and water. Next, let us see indication of a indicators of a chemical change. When water is added to quicklime, there will be the evolution of heat along with the formation of slacked lime. This is a chemical change and it indicated by a evaluation of heat when reaction set in between the quicklime and water. We are going to discuss about exothermic and endothermic chemical change. Just as the physical change, chemical reaction will be either endothermic or exothermic. The endothermic was the exothermic reaction. The energy is conserved in chemical reactions. The total energy of the system is the same before and after the reaction. This is the endothermic. The endothermic reaction is cooler than surrounding. This picture, the ice cube. This is the endothermic. The endothermic reaction is a cooler than surrounding. The exothermic reaction is hotter than surrounding. This is fire. Fire is a exothermic. Endothermic is a example of ice cube. Next. This is next we will see a periodic change and non-periodic change. This is periodic change. So what is the periodic change? The changes that repeat themselves after a definite interval of time are called the periodic changes. The rotation of revolution of earth, the beating of a heart, clocks ticking every hour, motion of the seconds and hand, minute and hand, hour and hands of clock or some example of the periodic changes. Every year we observe that session the change. We go from rain to winter and winter to summer and so on. This is periodic change. Non-periodic change. The changes that non-periodic change, the changes that do not repeat themselves after definite interval of a time and occur the randomly are called non-periodic change. Eruption of volcano example, eruption of a volcano, occurrence of an earthquake, a streak of lightning flash across the sky during a thunderstorm, running of batsman between the wickets, movement of leg while dancing are few example of a non-periodic changes. Next, so this lesson is over. Recapitulation of this lesson. In this lesson, you have learned the difference between the physical and chemical changes. You have also understood how salt is extracted by the process of evaporation, the definition of fermentation, the difference between the characteristics of the solid, liquid, and gas, and how the chemical changes important in our day-to-day life. Okay. Okay, student. I hope you all understood the lesson. Thank you, girls.